Hello folks, and welcome to another episode of Technicational. My name is Peyton Wilmot, and today we're taking a look at the Samsung Galaxy A50, which I dubbed the best of both worlds. Well, it depends if you're actually talking about the spec sheet on this thing. It's pretty nice for a mid-range phone. Now anyhow, today we're going to take a look at this and see if it's worth to go the A50 or go for A80 or go for A40 or A20. A50 is somewhere between the middle of all the A's, and it has some pretty good features, but yeah, we will decide if it's worth your time and money. Okay, so let's get right into it. So let's start off by talking about the design, the build quality, and what you're getting when you buy the A50. So let's start at the back. You have a plastic back. This is not glass, it's very shiny. You get a flash at the back, you get a 25 megapixel wide camera, you get an 8 megapixel ultra wide camera, and you get a 5 megapixel depth sensor. So that's a triple camera setup at the back. At the front of the device, you get a 25 megapixel front selfie camera, which is pretty nice. You get a 6.4 inch Super AMOLED display, and you also get an in-screen fingerprint scanner. Now the phone comes built with either 64 or 128 gigs of space, and you will get either 4 gigs of RAM or 6 gigs of RAM depending on which model you buy. The phone also comes with a massive 4000 milliamp hour battery, so it's definitely going to last you through the day. And on top of it, you get a octa-core processor, which is the Exynos 96010, which is pretty decent as a mid-range processor. So that's really what you're getting when you get this phone. And the experience I've been having, well, I'm going to tell you right now. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is performance, and it's a very sticky subject because when I first got this phone, it was, I'm gonna be honest with you, not performing well at all. But since some updates and some features added and stuff like that, it is performing much better. Now let me get right into what I'm talking about. Now the first thing is that anybody is going to buy the A50. The A50 is the first of the A lines that you can buy with an in-screen fingerprint scanner. Yes, you have the other A models higher than this that comes with it, but it comes with a higher price tag. So if you're fascinated about in-screen fingerprint scanner, the A50 is what you would go for if you don't have a lot of money. I was expecting the same performance like what you would get on a Galaxy S10 or a Note 10 Plus, but I'm gonna be honest with you, before the update I couldn't use this thing. It didn't work. It wasn't fast, it just didn't work. It hardly works. Since the update, it has gotten better, but it's still slow to work compared to other phones out there. The camera also got an update, and before the update the camera was pretty bad, to be honest. But now the camera is definitely worth looking at, although some of the offering that Xiaomi has in the camera department does better in the night. But we're not going into that as yet. So performance wise, it has gotten better since its updates and patches and Android updates, which is pretty good, because before I would not recommend this phone. Performance wise, it's pretty smooth. It plays games pretty easily without any problems. It does warm up a little bit in the hand when you're using it, but most phones do, and this is no exception. So let's talk about camera quality. Okay, now before the update, as I said before, the camera quality was not so good, but after the update it's pretty good. And it also add, wait for it, a night mode, which is pretty nice on a mid-range phone. Night mode does look much improved compared to just taking the pictures normally at night. But again, I have seen better night shots on mid-range phones. In the days, the photos and the videos on this look superb. You can definitely see that's a Samsung product. It's not on the level of a iPhone 11 Pro Max or a S10 or a Note, but for the fact that this is a mid-range phone, it's pretty nice. Because it's a 4000 milliamp hour battery, which is pretty large for any standard this year, it gives you a solid days of use. I have to say that. I have pressured it and it died on me in the night, but apart from that, without pressuring the device, just doing normal surfing the web, watching some YouTube videos, or just playing some PUBG, definitely can get you through the day, probably get you into the morning as well. The sad part is that I'm not sure, but the charger on this thing is not fast at all. It could be better. Just leave it at that. It could be better. So there you have it, the full review on the A50. Now, my final thoughts is this. When you look at the spec sheet for the A50, it looks pretty enticing. 4000 milliamp hour battery, an in-screen fingerprint scanner, and the fact that you get a memory card as well if you buy it from the Samsung Experience store in the Tropical Plaza. So it is definitely a plus. The fact that the phone is dual SIM as well, have your headphone jack, you get a charging brick, USB Type-C, and headphones, you'd say, yeah, definite win. But the truth is, when it comes to the A50 with the why am I always a mix up that? The in-screen fingerprint scanner, thank you, it doesn't work half the time. So if that's the reason for you to spend the extra money to get the A50, I would say no. Try something else with a back fingerprint scanner, or go for something higher if you have the money. But apart from that, the performance is good. The build quality is plastic, but it still feels sturdy. The camera performance is decent, and you get a pretty nice display to watch YouTube videos and movies on. Yeah. So if you're interested in this, you know where to find it. You can check it out at Samsung Experience Store in the Tropical Plaza, and they will gladly show you around the store for other options. And that is my full review of the A50, the best of both worlds. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time, peace.
Snakes in the grass, you gotta watch where you step. Blood on the leaves, you either kill or be killed. When there's food on the table, you either eat or you starve. And when the sharks in the water, you either sink or you swim. It's a jungle out there. It's a jungle out there. It's a jungle out there.